It's a trap! Good morning. Welcome back to the Junius Multi channel. Beware the Dow 20,000. It's a trap! Yeah, the market's looking like it might be set up right now, does it not? We're seeing some headlines and discussions coming over the wires that point to a possible bubble in the making, bubble being burst. And in my opinion, and I would assume most of you have observed it as well, it's definitely a bubble. And we've been saying that for the last several months anyway, if not longer. I know Peter Schiff's talking about the bailout bubble, the consequences of all that, the bailouts and this false recovery that we are in, built on a house of cards, on a house of fiat currency and manipulated interest rates and all the stimulus. It was just a matter of time that the consequences of that behavior would result in the popping of a bubble. Let's take a look at some of these headlines, and then also I want to get back into manipulation and rigging of the silver market. Tail end of this video, we'll talk about that. Got some new articles and information. Market insanity reaches record highs as investors flock into the biggest bubble in history. There is some market insanity going on. Just look around, you look at these prices, everyone's just flooding towards these stocks, and everyone's hoping to get rich quick, and it's just one big scheme. And they're going to be in for a surprise. This is going to result, I mean, it looks almost identical to what it did. Well, anytime there's a bubble, it looks like this. But remember 2008, 7, right around 2007, you couldn't go wrong. Housing, all the drum roll that CNBC was giving everybody. Just everyone was going to get rich. Everything was perfect. It could never go down. They were talking back then about a Dow of 36,000, and even 1999, 2000, same type of environment, same type of investor behavior. Time and time again, they don't seem to get it. It says here, investors have forsaken all reason, logic, and wisdom by rushing into the biggest stock and financial bubble in history. Even some precious metals investors are selling their gold and jumping into the markets, hoping to make big profits as President Trump takes over the White House in 6 weeks. Unfortunately, this is the worst time to jump into a market, because look at the prices. Come on now, people. Learn a lesson here. Everyone else is doing the same thing. You need to turn around and go the other way. This is like everyone running into a theater that is about to burn down, and you smell smoke. Just turn around and calmly walk towards the exit so you don't get stampeded, and find yourself onto the nice cool street in the clean evening air and breathe a sigh of relief, because you just left a crowded movie theater that is about to burn to the ground. So we don't know exactly, no one knows when this is going to happen. It's definitely going to happen at some point, but we don't know when. There's little things popping up here and there, little signs. Remember, this is the smoke on the breeze. You can smell it. Restaurant industry leading indicator of U.S. economy sours, bankruptcies pile up. ESPN lost a record 621,000 subscribers in 1 month. People probably looking at their monthly bills, cutting back here and there. There might be a squeeze taking place in areas of the economy we can't see. Greenspan, Western world headed for a state of disaster. The housing market is waving a red flag. Market insanity pushes the Dow Jones up to tulip mania heights. Look at this chart right here. This is the Gouda tulip bulbs. I don't know if any of you have ever studied this situation, but it's famous. It's one of the famous bubbles that consumed a lot of wealth, and everyone was trying to breed tulips and get certain tulip colors, and they were all striving for like the perfect black tulip, I believe it was. And anyways, price of tulip bulbs and tulips themselves skyrocketed. It became this big investment thing. People were even selling Dutch guilders, or giving Dutch guilders gold for tulip bulbs, and entire estates worth of wealth would be put towards purchasing just a handful of tulip bulbs. And then it collapsed, popped goes the weasel anyway. Dow Jones Index versus U.S. debt, 1980 versus today, almost identical, very similar setup here. Market running ahead of reality over Trump policies, CNBC Fed survey. Expectations in the stock market are beginning to run ahead of reality, Marshall Acuff, managing director of Silvercrest Asset Management, wrote in response to the survey. The market is way too optimistic over Trump policies, a CNBC Fed survey. Beware of the Dow 20,000 trap. It's a trap! Investors who made the biggest returns with the lowest volatility resisted the siren song of the latest boom. Resist the siren song, friends. Resist the siren song. They're calling you to the island so they can eat you. U.S. corporate valuations have now matched their dot-com bubble peak by Jesse Fielder. Here's a chart here in his statements. There's a lot of evidence, my friends. A lot of evidence out there. And I know it's like I'm preaching to the choir. I pretty much know that I am. You guys know what's coming. You know what's going on. You see this. It's the reason you're on this channel and you're part of this community. You know that it's probably going to occur in the near future. Similar headlines, similar panic, similar mania that we saw in like 2008. When the market starts to turn, it doesn't leave people a whole lot of time to position themselves. These events can take place while you're sleeping. There can be wealth transfers while you're asleep. Mutual funds dumping, what was it, $3 trillion or moving $3 trillion. You know, just be cautious and make your actions early. You're probably going to have some conversations over the holidays with family discussing similar things and these types of events. And I can assure you there's going to be people that laugh and scoff at you. And that's okay, because when it all comes down to it, you're going to get the last laugh. But it might not be that funny, especially when you're having to rent out your basement to homeless family members that lost everything in the stock market. All right, there you go. That's the talk on the bubble going pop, and we know it's coming, and we know it's a trap. It's a trap. 3, 2, 1, boom! Silver fixing allegations in a dozen chats. We covered this briefly yesterday. We went over one of the chats, and it's amazing. This is in the news, but I'm not seeing it picked up by a lot of the big mainstream news outlets. I wonder why that is. The real news just isn't covering this news, so it must be fake news. But we know that it's not. This is not fake news. This is real. However, it's uncomfortable to talk about, because once you acknowledge that this is true, that this is reality, that this is occurring, then you have to question it all. You have to question, well, if they're manipulating metals, could they be manipulating housing? Could they be manipulating the S&P? Could they be manipulating, well, everything? It could all be fake. It could all be smoke and mirrors. This literally could be the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain. It could all be smoke and mirrors, a giant illusion.
You presume to criticize the great Oz? You ungrateful creatures think yourselves lucky that I'm giving you audience tomorrow instead of 20 years from now. Oh, the great Oz has spoken. Oh, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. The great Oz has spoken.
Who are you?
Oh, I am the great and powerful Wizard of Oz.
You are? I don't believe you.
No, I'm afraid.
And when it's all said and done, you guys don't have anything. I don't have anything. Well, we have metal, which we know that's something. They can't manipulate the gold out of my hands. That's a fact. And gold's never gone to zero in 70 centuries. So when you couple the fact that everything can be manipulated and fake, well, the silver market being suppressed, we know that's the case, then if the stocks and bond markets are being artificially inflated and metals are artificially suppressed, what happens when these scales flip over, everything's discovered out in the open, and then valuations rapidly change across the spectrum? Which, that's what I see happening here. That's what I see building up. I see it to where this big Dow 20,000 pops. we get a gold Dow ratio. I was thinking about that this morning. The Dow gold ratio back to 1-to-1. I don't know what that is. I don't know where that is. I don't know where it ends up. Let's say the Dow falls to 5,000, gold goes to 5,000. Maybe the Dow drops to 2,000, gold goes to 2,000. I don't know. I'm not an oracle. I'm just looking at facts here, reading other people's opinions, and trying to come up with an idea of what's happening. Here we are on a tangent. We need to get to the stories, but just think about that for a minute. Nothing is as it seems right now. It's all being manipulated. We're being perpetually lied to. You cannot trust anybody. You cannot trust anybody in this big giant scheme, this casino of Wall Street. I don't think we deal them enough criticism. It seems like the whole accusation of it being a casino has dropped out of the public narrative, and accusations and criticisms of Wall Street. Nothing's changed since the last crisis. These guys are still operating a Vegas-like environment. They're still gambling with your pension, your money, your Social Security, your mutual funds, your Roth IRA, your 401k, all that stuff. It's all fake. It's all being gambled with. And these guys are going to run this train right off the tracks. Court documents detail private chats between bank traders. Lawsuit alleges widespread rigging of the precious metal market. UBS and Deutsche Bank silver traders agreed to follow the 11 o'clock rule, where they would short silver at 11 a.m., timing their trades with a countdown sequence according to court papers from a February 8, 2011 chat. Look at this stuff. Here we go, wrote a Deutsche Bank trader. A UBS trader says, go, 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 go. Dude, near the high? The Deutsche Bank trader responded, I'm going to ramp it. That my plan. You? At 53 banks, Imam go guns blazing, the UBS trader wrote. Yeah, exactly. As in on the break at 53, it's 3, 2, 1, boom. UBS Group AG said last week it will vigorously fight the new allegations in court papers. Of course they will. It goes on. Ben Silver on October 15th, 2010, a UBS trader wrote, gonna bend this silver lower. A Deutsche Bank trader responded, oh dear, my boss just said he bought some. The UBS trader says, I have to be sneaky then. Then later, had to really work that one, told you I'd bend it lower for you. They try to recruit others, and this is just unbelievable. They actually called themselves and termed themselves a mafia. I guess, I'm gonna sell a little more. We need to grow our mafia a little. Get a third position involved, the UBS trader wrote. And the Deutsche Bank trader responded, okay, Colin Barks. Barclays, a bank representative, declined to comment. So we see here that these guys were literally manipulating and influencing the market. They were bending silver. They were collaborating and conspiring. Now that's where I want to get into this word conspiring. Because you and I, anyone for that matter that had accused or mentioned manipulations and rigging of the precious metals market, we were termed conspiracy theorists, and you would see it in comment sections and threads and articles. You would lose all credibility. If you or I or anyone who was out there was calling for investigations and talking about these markets being rigged and manipulated, immediately you'd be labeled a conspiracy theorist. And here we are. What is a conspiracy theory? It's basically someone who believes that there is a group out there or somebody or some entity that is conspiring to do harm or to do wrongdoing. And it just happens to be that is the way it was. There was a group, several entities, who were indeed conspiring to execute transactions and perform illegal and dishonest acts to manipulate, suppress, and steer the precious metals market for their benefit and at the detriment of others. So it's not a conspiracy theory any longer. It's a conspiracy fact. It's a conspiracy reality. So when people start to accuse people of, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, that's just a conspiracy theory. No, it's not actually. It's not. And it's funny how sometimes people can throw things like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory around. And then they themselves believe in weird, strange conspiracy theories like Russian hack jobs into election cycles and things like that. If anything, this gives me a sense of confidence. If these guys were working this hard to manipulate the metals market, now they're getting caught, and we're looking at a buildup with a Dow and a paper market that's about to pop. We haven't even touched on the paper gold, paper silver markets, ETFs, all the lying and falsehood and dishonesty that exists just in that environment alone. Picture a scenario where the markets pop, the lid's blown off the manipulation of the precious metals market, capital starts to flee and run and stampede towards the exit that is precious metals, gold and silver. You could see a price shift that is so rapid and so steep. Well, people like myself, I'm already pretty much priced out of the market where I am at this point. But a lot of people are going to be in a position where they're not going to have time or the capital to move towards metals. We're sitting in a position right now where it's real easy to throw stones at those of us that are still committed to the purchasing of precious metals, gold, silver. You got a lot of people out there saying, "Oh, stocks! Look at stock market's doing so much better. Your gold's dropped 100 this, 100 that," and there's a lot of mockery and things like that being thrown around, especially towards quote the gold bugs. But as you know, we refer ourselves as gold hawks. But it's gonna be different here. Just wait, bide your time, because you're going to see a lot of guys running their fingers through their hair with red eyes and their face in the palms of their hands when they realize that the big bubble just popped and now they don't have a chair to sit in, as we've talked about. So there you go. Beware the Dow trap. Remember, it's all rigged at this point. Thanks for tuning in to the Junius Maltby channel today. Appreciate you guys stopping by. As always, thanks for your support and being part of the Junius Maltby channel. Thanks.
It's a trap!